Alright, I don't want to sit there in silence anymore. So I'm going to come over here and finish this up. Hey, everybody. Put this over here. I am... just got to make this look correct. Do this. Oh, we're got nope. Display capture. I want you. Oh no, stop selecting other things. No, I have. There we go. Yes, now let's do this. And I'm gonna size it up. Fit right there. There we go. So I have a little more room on my main monitor for chat and stuff. Hey, Discordia. Hey, Penta. Hey, Deebs. Hey, Sarun Wangi. Hello to you all. How are you doing? Oh, some days it's really loud to me. Hey! That must be one of my favorite times of the day. The Honey Money raid. Let me check. Oh, I also have my my lighting too hot. It is indeed a Honey Money raid. Hey! How are you doing, Honey Money? How are you doing, everybody's coming in with Honey Money? What's up, Splinter Fiction? Good to see you again. Sorry I am late and a little... Oh, wait. I'm on the wrong window. I don't want to show you my whole desktop. I just want to get this set up properly. Sorry I am late today. I had to get an article in. And time management, it's a thing. What is this cat with a heart? That's great. I like it. If I turn this down, will that be low enough lighting for me not to have to adjust? We're gonna call that good enough. If I look ugly, just tell me to my face and I'll fix it. But if not, I'm going to leave the lighting like this. Hey, everybody. How's GTA 4, Honey Bunny? Let's make this bigger. Make that easier to read. It's a wild ride. Is it now? In a GTA game, I feel like it should be a wild ride. Because you're just driving crazy. Like, that's like the goal of GTA. I think there might be a story. I'm not even sure. What is one thing which has stumped you? The one obstacle which has stalled your progress thus far? Time management. It's a real thing. GTA 4 was so good. I missed that game. Maybe I should play it. I played like a little bit of it. That's it. We saw some cabaret shows. Oh, nice. And had sex. Also nice. At the cabaret show? Or elsewhere? That's just Sunny Bunny's driving. No, like I mean, yes, but it's not just for Honey Bunny. Everybody, I think, is like contractually obligated to drive like an absolute maniac when playing a GTA. Lady shouted, "Say interesting things to me during." That's funny. That's a good sort of... I don't know if that's a good anti-heckle or that's how you get heckled. But I like the energy. Even driving instructors? In GTA? Oh, absolutely. Who do you think teaches people how to drive like absolute mad lads? I like Garibon font. I feel like it's a little too... a little too small. What do you think about Acme? Is that thick enough? I want like a good font that everybody can clearly read. Like, is that a good... GTA police drive like absolute mad lads. Yeah, they do. I mean, they gotta compete with you. Like, they've got to. I've grown quite fond of Roboto's Slab. But you'd have to download that one? What's Roboto Slab? Also, hello, Talion. How are you? Is that thick enough? I do like it thick. Oh, it's a font. Oh, interesting. Roboto Slab 900. Ooh, that's a very nice font. $800 is called Extra Bold. Hang on. It says Extra Bold, so before we get started, I have to show you a video that I really like. They're doing their, like, exchange. Yo-ho! Here it is. In the episode, if you're not familiar with Mystery Science Theater, they do like one of their bits before the movie starts. They do an invention exchange between the host and the robots and the mad scientists, and it's a running gag. But then their invention one week is barbecue sauce, and they do this really funny ad for it. And just every time someone mentions even something slightly related, I think about this. And I need to share it. I probably won't share the whole thing. It's like 2 minutes. Which is not like long, but if you hate it. Here we go.
Hold on there, partner, because we got sauce. Barbecue sauce.
Yes, sirree! It's Cowboy Mike's own original red hot ricochet barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce?
Just love that. Just now hold on a minute there. Oh, where is it? Hang on. That it was extra bold. Hang on, I gotta keep playing because we have to get to the part where he actually says extra bold.
Look what we've got.
But Clay, do you think it might be bold?
Bold? Well, hell yes, it's bold. It's Cowboy Mike's own original red hot ricochet barbecue sauce.
It's mighty bold. How bold is it? It's bold enough to bulldog your taste buds and hog tie your tongue. That's how bold this stuff is, you little priss ant. I mean, it's bold.
So it's bold enough to bulldog your taste buds and hog tie your tongue. I love that. That's one of my favorite things to say when someone's like, how is it? I'm like, oh, it's bold enough to bulldog your taste buds and hog tie your tongue. What's up, Larson? No, it's a great time. I was just showing off one of my favorite MST3K clips because of something slightly related. Because of the phrase extra bold was brought up, and so I had to bring that up. I love MST3K. It's really good stuff. All right. Mighty bold. MST Series Gay. I've met Trace and Frank in person at a live show. That's awesome. Madness. Love it. Yeah, it is. I think it was Con Carolina. I forget which con I was at. Joel was there. And I didn't meet him like meet and greet, but I went to a panel that he was on, and he was like one of the friendliest seeming people in the whole world. Like he did a good panel, like did a good job answering questions, and just seemed like super friendly and like happy to be there and talk to people. It was really cool. And that was right before they did the Netflix show, like right before that went. So it was really cool to be like, oh, they're doing a crowdfunder for a new season, and I just met this person, and he was so nice. That's going to be in my head every time the word bold is used. The whole thing is really great. Like, I won't play it. Just look it up. It's Cowboy Mike's original recipe. This is... Here we go. That's the bit. But, like, the whole thing is funny. But I don't want to make everybody sit through it if that's not their jam. But it is really funny. And it's like, one of the lines later is like, when they're talking about how great it is, and Crow's like, there is no known antidote for new Cowboy Mike's own original Red Hot Ricochet barbecue sauce. There is no known antidote for it is another phrase I love using. That whole thing's a gem. Also, the episode that bit is for is basically unwatchable. That is literally the best part of the episode, and that is not a dig at them. The movie they watch is a movie that is constructed of 90% stock footage of military airplanes flying. Not fighting. Just flying. And then they cut in a few bits of like, you know, soldier pilot talks. Soldier pilot talks to general. Soldier pilot explains why he's going up in the sky. Soldier pilot talks to girlfriend. Like, but like 90% of that film is stock footage of planes flying, and it is unbearable. Like, they make some jokes, and it's like, wow, that's a good joke, but like, this hurts. It's a really, that's the best part. Don't watch that episode. I've probably seen it. Hey, True Mandalorian. Yeah, I'm sorry if you have. It's really, it's terrible. It's really not good. Also, now I have to keep glancing back and forth because True Mandalorian's thing is on Twitch, but it's not on Restream. Oh, no! Restream just borked. You can see it's not showing up in chat. I think Puma Man is still my favorite. Oh, I've seen part of Puma Man. I have not seen the whole thing. Well, hopefully Restream will fix itself, because currently this is showing up in Twitch, but not showing up over here, which means YouTube is also not showing up in there. So now I got to go in here. Okay, so no one said anything new on YouTube. Try having this open. Okay, let me try it. It says, oops, something went wrong. Try reloading the page. Hit reload. Oops, something went wrong. Thank you, Honey Money. Unfortunately, it seems to be a real issue. Regardless. I'll bring that up again. Yeah, it's still doing its thing. Showed up for 2 seconds and I broke it. True Mandalorian, come on. Alright, world used to being... But Donald Pleasance? What? You may have to remove and re-add your destination after stream. It does this sometimes where it'll just stop working and then it'll start working again. But yeah. I'll try and redo it after the stream, see if that helps at all. Ugh. Technology. But we're not talking about technology today. We're talking about world building. Talking about a place for everyone. Inclusion and stuff in world building. We were talking about stuff yesterday. And I wanted to bring up things about world building. I'm very curious about how other people do this kind of stuff in their games too. So if you have thoughts and opinions, do share. But there are a few things that like I feel like get set into, and I'm not going to talk about anything like like everything regarding like inclusion and stuff, but like I want to talk about like anything people bring up on the topic, and then also things like in a world that is not ours and has like a different history and a different, you know, set of things that have allowed it to be what it is, a different, you know, all sorts of things, blah blahs, that like what relationships are, what family is, societal influences on all those things. And then also when you're dealing with a big thing that I feel like it's absolutely glossed over in so many things is age. When you have a world where you have like elves Like in my world, elves and Queriku, which are like tree people, are functionally immortal. They can die from blood loss. They're not immune to disease. They could die from that. Like, but they won't die just from existing like we do. Like, we will die of old age eventually, where these folk won't. What does that look like when you've had 900 years? Like, what does a family dynamic look like? What does expectations of relationships look like when you have that sort of a timetable? Larson, are we talking like demographic inclusivity or just making sure everyone in the group feels like they belong? So mostly demographic. So we're looking at in world building. So like within the world itself. Like, yes, you should have everybody feel comfy at the table too. But that's tangentially related. That's related to the topic, but not the topic we're talking about. But like that all should come up as a thought and as a thing you want to do when you're world building. Actually, that's a good starting point. When you're world building, you should be thinking about the folks at your table. I don't like that I have to keep going back to YouTube, because I have to check that too. Sorry, YouTube. I've turned the music down on my end because it's a little loud. I feel like this song is louder, but I'm not sure if it's actually like audio louder. There we go. But yeah, think about the people at your table. So like you want people to have fun, feel comfortable, be able to role play and have a good time hanging out. Like if you want to have like a fun, comfy experience like that, like think about that. If you want to have a game where it's super oppressive and the world is sad and everybody is trying to survive versus have a good time, totally understandable. You can run a game like that. I've done it. It's fun. But that's kind of what we were talking about before. And I talk about a lot of other times, like expectations and like talking to the group, getting like a session 0 of like making sure everybody's on the same page and stuff like that. Like think about your table. What do you want them? I gotta look at my notes because I do have a few notes. I was about to say that my campaign has a total of 2 humans so far, but then I remembered that my main bad guy faction is all humans. But they're a fictional ethnicity. I mean, they're all they're all humans. Humans, the real monsters. Yeah, so like if you have another thing that gets me, and this is like I'm gonna try not to. I have real notes that I want to talk about, but this is a thing that like I want to drive home as a like, if you take anything away from this, this is one of those things to take away. People mix up what a societal influence is and what a biological influence is. So like, if you say elves are snooty, that is saying biologically they are snooty, which snootiness is a personality thing and a societal thing. You are snooty because you're an asshole. or you're a snooty because you grew up in an environment that said you're better than everyone else, act like it, and you were like, okay, I guess I will. But you, as a elf, really shouldn't have been born snooty. Or like, everybody who lives in the elf city is an elf, and they're snooty. And that is like, okay, so is your world isolated like that? That's a problem I have with a lot of the mainstream big, wizards of the sea border kind of lore, where it's like, oh, it's a world where you have like half elves and you have like this long history of interaction with all these people groups, but like elves act like elves because they're from elf places. But that completely contradicts the open world that with a long history that these people have intertwined and interacted with throughout. And that's like, why is there still such isolated pockets of like, this is human city, this is elf kingdom, this is dwarf area, when everything else about the world shows that people are like mixing it up constantly with each other. And that there's a weird mix of like what you are determines who you are. But I don't think that's the case. I think there are some things that you should take into account as a biological factor, which I like. As I mentioned earlier, age. Like when you are 900 years old, like, and you've had, okay, so you had some kids, cool. They had some kids, cool. They had some kids, all right, cool. After 100 years, after 200 years, after 300 years, after 400 years, like, how close are you to your, like, great grandchildren? Do they even factor? Are you generally like, oh man, once you hit double digits, I stop paying attention to whose blood anymore? Like, what does that mean for the person? And if you have a society that's made up of like a bunch of long-lived folk, like elves and Quercu, then it's like, okay, if those are the founders of this society, if those are the majority of the society, well then, what does that do for affecting like how societally they view relationships and like the distance of them and the age of them? Is it revered? Like, oh, I've known you 900 years? That's massive. Like, if I've known you for over 1,000 years, you are family. Like, just that's the rule here. Like, if you've known them that long, and then that might have an effect on people that like how they interact and being okay with cutting ties with someone. So it's like, I don't want this person to be my family in another 500 years. They are garbage. I'm going to stop contact with them. I only knew them for 500 years. That's nothing. Like, whatever. So, like, things like that can affect things. Okay, so I got some chat here. Does that make sense? Like, that is a factor of biology, but how you interpret that as a character is a matter of personal. I need a noun. Personal stuff. It's a matter that is personal. That's how I should have said that. I'm not a writer. I don't wordsmith. Deep says, I don't think it would be all that strange for some groups of a species to prefer to stick together, even an intertwined world, but in such a world, it would be really odd to be like, this is the elf city where all elves come from and so on. Exactly. Having isolated groups or groups that do want to stick together for whatever reason does make sense. Like, you can absolutely work that in. But yes, as you said, to have everybody from the elf place is very strange unless you specifically build it that way. Discordia says, been having similar thoughts regarding Mass Effect game I'm playing. Are there, like, in what way, Discordia? I'm very curious. And Deep says, or I've known you for a long time and I'm sick of you. Maybe talk to me next millennium. Yeah, exactly. Where you're like, all right, this is like 500 years is long enough. I'll give you some time. Maybe you'll mature in another century or 4. It's worth considering that a world where deities are real and take an active role in influencing people's philosophies would have a big impact on how culture develops. Nope, that's not Discordia, that's Larson. Larson! That is an actual note I have after the other notes I was going to get to. I have notes on, like, relationships, and I was going to get to that. Dang. All right, I guess we're going to start there. So, you are just hitting specifically what I want to say. So I'm gonna get to that, but first I'm gonna read this. Discordia says my character is an Asari. Their other siblings, other parent is Solarian. Whoop! Don't take away my chat. God, I really hate that restream borked. Twitch, please be better. Characters Asari, older siblings Solarian. How many generations of cousins have gone by their 30 to 40 year lifespan? 8 or 9? Ooh, yeah, like what? And how does an Asari, like, think about that with, like, how other people have relationships and, like, their time frame of that relationship? In real life, religions adapt to culture. Not so when gods are tangible. Yes. Deep says, I will say that it would make sense for a functionally immortal species to see itself as superior to us normal humans, because they would be possibly, because how could we possibly understand the world the way they do when we have such a brief window before we die? And I feel like that would work for some, where it's like, what does this freaking child who's only 40 years old know about the world? For a personal take, I think that totally works. But, like, it would be like saying, well, all humans think cats are bad, and, like, cats don't have feelings because they only live, like 10 to 15, 20 years. They got nothing. Where it's like, no, there is affection. There is, appreciation for them. And if we could communicate with cats in a shared language, then it would probably be even more like, oh, wow, this is like an actual thing. Like, yes, their lifespan would be shorter. But, you'd have a different opinion. Also in a world in this where it's like you have elves that are functionally immortal, humans that live, like our lifetime, and other creatures live about that. And then, like, in my world, I have the Dikaria, which are the mushroom people, like Grinderbin, who live like 12 to 13 months, and that is their life cycle. So I feel like when you have that, that can help with, like, well, how do people feel about that? You have such a range of lifespans where you have, just over a year to like 20 years to 30 years to 80 years to hundreds of years to thousands of years. And seeing, like, it's easy to see value in some of those things. And like, oh, wow, you don't just look at it and go, well, they don't live as long as I do, so whatever. But some people will absolutely do that, but not everybody. Probably people are seeing humans like children rather than haughty superior complex. Yeah. I was just talking to the other Asari player yesterday about the possibility of there being a support group for Asari who have outlived their partners. Absolutely. That would be a very in-world thing to have. Reminds me of that one Solarian stepdad with his stepdaughter in ME2. Oh, I don't remember that. I gotta replay Mass Effect 1 and 2. They're so good. So religion. So this ain't our world. So like one of the things is I have notes about like inclusion and thoughts about like, okay, like I said, marriage, kids, age, or like age. We were just talking about that. So like where like where religion fits into this and like what makes normal. I love the phrase "what makes normal" because that's not a good phrase, but I love it. So like in our world, we have religion, and religion like has influenced our world in a lot of ways where it's like, okay, why do we have things like the gender like societal views on gender that we have, or you know, sex, or you know, anything in the what makes normal. Gosh, like anywhere in there is like, well, a big part of that is religion, and part of that is like religion used to influence people. The idea of like purity that has just been, you know, drilled into, I know I come from a Christian background where it's like, that's a huge thing drilled into kids, into teens, into adults, is like the purity aspect. But religious power is used to control people, to influence them. Religion is often used to reinforce the patriarchy, which, you know, aids people outside of the religion itself, and that many religions help the patriarchy. That is something that exists in our world, and part of the reason you can do that is because what Larson was talking about, you know, you can't go to Jesus or Muhammad and be like, so what do you think about like bisexuality? You cool with that? I hear some people talking some real shit, but like, how you feel? That's not a thing we can do. In a world where you have clerics that can go, hey, God of messages, can you like put some fire under my feet and just freaking blast me real fast that way? And they go, yeah, all right, bang. Like there is an interaction there that we don't have. So in that world, you can have the influence of like, well, what are your thoughts on this? Brother Dan, God of partying, and he'd be like, here's what I think. And like that's an avenue you have to explore. And so being able to change what, you know, going against, or not even going against, but just opening up to the possibilities of like how a world would function without our norms, and why we have the norms we have, and how a society would grow in a very different way because of very large factors, such as being able to directly communicate with gods. So that was a whole thing, and I jumped straight to it. I was going to build to it, but whatever. It's fine. Now let's get back to chat. What makes normal? Consensus. Yeah, if enough people go, this is normal, it really doesn't matter how weird it is. A lot of other people will go, yeah, all right. Splinterfiction says, one thing I've had with my long-lived / immortal characters is that they tend to start families very late in life since they have so much time to do so. They also tend to have less children if they have any at all, because they'll have these kids literally forever. LOL. This is, however, how I have them in a stable society. Yeah, makes total sense. And that they would have, like, you know, have them viewing it because they do have, you know, such a long life. It makes sense. Like, and that works kind of parallel to how, you know, we as society view it, where it was like when we had shorter lifespans as humans, He's like, you gotta crank out some children, because you might die at like freaking 20, so like, or 30. So like, you get married, pop out some kids, and then if you keel over, you did your work for society, and if you didn't, well, then the kids help you on the farm, and you got it. Because I want to say easier, but I feel like no, having kids does not make things easier. Oh, Restream might have started working. Splinter Fiction continues, says, so they tend to stay close since they don't have so many people to stay in contact with. Yeah, and that makes total sense. Like, that's a good thought for, yeah, if you have, like, the people that live that long, that, yeah, like, a smaller group matters, because you are, especially if they are also long-lived, you're going to have that group forever. How do they feel about making friendships and maybe family stuff in your world, like as a general rule when you're doing stuff, or your characters that you made with like friends with, or be like familiar related with like non-immortal characters, like humans? Lars said, I found a YouTube video with a Solarian and a Asari. It's a minute long. It's fairly relevant to the topic if you want to watch it. I'm not going to watch it right now, but you can like link it to me. I wouldn't have used the word aid myself. Discordia, I don't know if that was pointed at me or is something else someone said. I don't remember if I said it. I don't see it written anywhere, but maybe I might have missed it. Let me know what that is in context too. If you want to. One Deep says, one thing I've explored a lot in Malazan. Oh, that's explored a lot in Malazan is the idea of religion when the gods are real, and there's a lot of push and pull in regards to gods being gods because they have worshippers. So ultimate, the real power comes from the mortals. Yeah. There's a game, oh, in the patriarchy, Restream's working. It aids people who like the patriarchy, who benefit from the patriarchy, who want that sort of oppression. So it aids them. It does not aid everybody, specifically people who are not like directly born into a situation where it helps them. So yeah, it aids people who like it and who want to support it and who want it to continue to support their kingdoms and their dynasties in the way they want it to run, so they can exclude the people that they want to exclude. So it does not aid in a good way a lot of people. Does that make sense? Because yes, the patriarchy does not help people as a whole. It helps specific people. Mostly assholes. And then side effects of it, like being a dude. There are specific things about the patriarchy that automatically work in my favor simply because I am a dude. But I don't like that. I don't want that to be the case. So like, hi phone. Let's see, push and pull. Oh, okay. So people have the real power, or mortals have the real power because gods are worshipped and gain power. Yeah, there's a game, I think it's called Dominions 4. It's a 4X strategy game, I think, where you can win against another side, or you can abolish a god's power by using missionaries to convert people to other religions. And once that god has no more worshippers, they no longer have power and they no longer have influence, and you have victory over them. which is pretty cool. Like, it's a cool way to, like, you can actually win the whole game that way. Like, if you are being beaten by the army, but you get everybody on that side to stop believing in the deity that runs that nation, you win against them. Congratulations. So, it's a cool concept. I like that idea, too, of being able to play with, you know, having the mortals having some sort of power because of worshipping. I hope I've explained myself correctly on the patriarchy. That it is bad. Smash the patriarchy. I have a button. Splinter Fiction says, a lot of my mortal characters tend to shy away from friendships with mortal people, mostly after losing someone they were close to. This is a pain point for one of my characters, as he fell in love with a mortal and spiraled when their partner passed away. After this, he became secluded in general. I have some mortal characters that are simply snooty just because they're above mortals. Yeah, some people actually absolutely gonna be like that. I'm curious how is that, I don't know, I'm curious how, like, that's baked in other parts of how that character, those characters see the world, Splinter Fiction, and how it kind of affects them. It's all interesting. Black and White too. Yeah, that was a strategy game, and like you play a literal god, like with a hand that just messes with the world itself. I think, because that was a Lionhead Studio game. I think it was Proxima saying that it was such a cool concept and such a disappointing game, because it was on the list yesterday. All right, so what makes normal? So one of the things I want to bring up was like relationships. Oh, hang on. I can't spell. I mean, I can because I just spelled it, but sometimes my brain farts. So, like, what is normal? What makes normal? So, in the regard of relationships, like, in your world, what is, like, an easy one? Marriage. What's marriage? Is there marriage? Why would every society need or want marriage? What would make them not want it? What forms does it take? Is it like single pairing off? Is it poly? What reasons does it have? Is it based on like a specific function? Like, oh, you have X, I have Y. If we put our resources together, we can have another thing. So it's like more of a business thing. How do people feel about marriage? Where it's like a lot of our, you know, marriage based in a lot of ways of like goods and services in some ways, and like, you know, political pacts and things like that, and depending on where you were on the social standing. But like now marriage is much more, at least in America, is much more seen as like a thing to do with love. And also back to religion, the thing to do with purity, where, you know, if you believe in God saying, well, the only way you can do the nasty is to be married, so that's why you want to have marriage. And so, like, what influences what society perceives marriage to be? And do you have it? You can really be like, this group does not have marriage, and that's fine. And have other titles or anything that involves all that, you know, it doesn't have to be as one-to-one as we have with our world. So like a marriage might be business based or friendship based or like something else. You know, it might be partner based. You know, it might be like compatibility with something specific, like, oh, well, you'd be a good parent, so like we should have children. Like, that's cool, but that's not like the relationship as a whole. Like, what does that sort of mean for your world? You know, I'm not sure there are many factions in the Underdark that... Oh, I don't like that. That really tripped my brain when I heard... Oh, man, when I heard that. You know, I'm not sure there are many factions in the Underdark that practice marriage. Deep Gnomes and Drugar, I don't know how to say that name, but it's the like underground dwarves, I think. I guess definitely not the Drow. They just take consorts. Yeah, if I remember, because I read the first two Drizzt. Well, actually, I've read 3 Drizzt books. The first 2 chronological, which are the first 2 in the prequels, and then the first actual book. And yeah, they do. The Drow is a Homeland in Exile. Yeah, I have the 3rd one. I haven't read it yet. And then the first the first book written was like the Ruby Sapphire or something. I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, like they in that, and that's a bit of a more understandable bit where it's the actual like folk, like the dark elves in that series are isolated. Like they don't intertwine or mingle with most other people. If they do, it's generally over war or they enslave them. So them having like I don't like saying like a dark elf society, because that's like saying the human society, where it's like, but there's so much. But it does make sense that there would be, if this is where the majority of dark elves live, and that they are exclusive and tight-knit, that yeah, a lot of them by society standards will have all that societal baggage along with them. They do sometimes trade with other races, but under very controlled circumstances. Yeah, they're, if I remember correctly from what I read, they think very highly of themselves, and don't care about others. But yeah, they don't have marriage because it's female-dominated society. Yeah, big xenophobes. They definitely are. And they, yeah, I think they're all in the hierarchy. And yeah, I think the men they take, they're just like, yeah, this guy for this reason. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, in that society, they have no need for it or want for it. Like, that society is built on, again, if I remember correctly, like kind of taking what they want and being like, you know, people as, or in this case, males as, like, not necessarily tools, but like, basically, the pieces that they can use or trade as they see fit. And if they're like, hey, this dude, really good bodyguard, I'll keep him around. But like, yeah, they don't have that need or that societal want. So probably, yeah, I don't think it does exist there. They do some interesting stuff with that. I really wish that it was better established on like, and it's freaking D&D lore, so it's all blah anyway, but like the fact that their society is built on that has some interesting caveats in it, and like some interesting things within it, and that it is unfortunately not linguistically clear that like this is the society, and not because you're born a dark elf you're an evil bastard, because the lore itself is that if you're born a dark elf you're an evil bastard, which is not a good look. What did we talk about? Oh yeah, we talked about partners. We talked about family some. Oh, I didn't do my notes, but it's okay. We talked about partners or family. So like, how many generations do people still consider blood relatives? Like, what does family mean? Oh, okay, hang on. That was another point I did not get to. But first I'm going to read Larson's thing. It says, ironically, one of the main factions working with the party in my campaign is a drow trade house that split off from control of Lulth's clergy, and in turn the matriarchy, during a period when Lulth stopped granting spells to her clerics. Oh, interesting. So they... Oh. Why did Lulth stop granting spells to her clerics? That does sound like a good way to find a new god. Be like, you're not doing this for me anymore? Well, I'm gonna go worship someone who does. So, bye. So, like, relationships, what is family? Like, in our society, we generally view family as, like, blood relatives. Like, you were born of your parents, so they are your family. They had another child that is your sibling, they are family. Your parents had a brother, and that brother married this person, and they had kids, and now they're your cousins, so they're family. But, like, that's a very, our way of looking at it in our, like, societal, and again, with, like, a lot of things based on religion and other things where it's like, that's what made up our history. But you don't have to do that in your world. You can take it way different than that. So, like, I know just with my family, like my blood family, I have a lot of people who we call family, who we call cousin, who we say is family, that has absolutely no blood relation and is not adopted, is not legally family. It is just someone who, for whatever reason, we are very close to, and they are considered family. Some of my friends growing up are considered family. Some of my sister's friends growing up, some of the friends of my parents. Like, I have, I had, they're no longer with us, an uncle and aunt who is not actually related at all. They're just very close. And a lot of, like, cousins and people like that. It's like, that's a title we use to show, like, you mean to me as much as a blood relative, even though you are not. And then having, like, legal things, like, okay, adoption, like, that makes you family. Like, you are not any less a child of a person because you are adopted, or they are not any less your child because they're adopted. Like, and then that's specifically tied to, like, the legal term of adoption. But also, you can have someone like, you raised this person, you consider them your child, or you were raised by someone, you consider them your family, your parent, whatever. And, like, having different society that looks at family in different ways. So having them be, based on, could be kind of what we mentioned, like, time spent, like, with elves or whatever, where it's like, you spend enough time with someone, you're like, this is a family member. Or, like, did you live through something outstanding. Like you go on adventures and then you're like, oh, this is, my family because we went through this thing together and we're thick and thin. Like we're together now. Like whatever comes, you're still my family. Where's my notes? But yeah, so like there's a lot more than just blood that can be a thing. It's more than just time spent too. Like I said, like doing adventures. Like you have one big adventure together, or like one really big event, one really important thing that happened, and like you are bonded to this person for a reason. And like that's a thing you can build up, that you have extended families, found families is a good word. Or phrase. I love that phrase. And I also love found families. I think they're like such a good concept, and such a good thing in general. That I forget where I was going with this. Basically, what I just said. I'm not gonna repeat myself. I'm gonna read chat. Splinter Fiction says, I always love playing with this aspect. I have this society of immortal shapeshifters that hold marriage up as a sacred thing. They go under the logic that you have all the time to find the perfect partner for you. So you obviously will only get one marriage. You will only get married if you're truly deeply in love with this person. Getting a divorce is considered extremely taboo. Oh, excuse me. And could get you completely kicked out of their society. Oh, dang. Yeah, so like having a society that views it, and that's a view of like both a nature and nurture. So you have a society that is like marriage is very important. One marriage is very important. Don't get a divorce, we'll be super upset. But it is coupled with some of the nurture, or sorry, that's the nurture, is the societal, and some of the nature. This group is immortal, and that influences their view, or the societal view on nature, on marriage. Lars says the silence of Lolth was an in-setting event. It was a metaphysical thing. It's the focus of the War of the Spider Queen novels. She did return eventually. Well, of course she's got to return. Lolth is famous. And cool looking. She's the spider lady. She's a big Quaalag. Also, mind you, even the Forgotten Realms has examples of drow acting differently from the standard. My favorite example is the city of Sindarin. I am not familiar with Sindarin, but it's good that they have more than just and everybody's like this, which I think they do explore more in the novels than they do in the RPG setting, where the RPG setting says literally your alignment is evil because you're a drow, which is bad look. Bad look. Don't have baked in alignments. So that's not what today's session is about, so we're not going to talk about that. Delete your messages now if you're typing. But like, I do say that a lot. That like baked in morality is a bad choice in anything that has any creature that has choice. And if they don't have choice, that's a whole other thing to get into, because then we talk about like literal demons. Larson says, also, mind you, even the Forgotten... Oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Discordia says, they're going to morally slide over time as boredom sets in. So, but I feel like, would a creature that is functionally immortal have the same view of boredom that like us do? Like, is boredom a product of not having unlimited time? Like, if we didn't, like, I'm playing a game. been playing some demos for the Steam Next Fest. I've got some written stuff hopefully coming up on the Escapist soon. Woo! If you're playing a demo and if I'm playing a demo and I'm like, this game is not good, I am not having fun with this, I'm going to stop. Like, I am bored. It is an experience. It is functional. Maybe some other people would enjoy it, but like, I am not enjoying it. But yeah, is that partially because I have a ticking clock in my head telling me, if you're doing this, you're not doing something else. And eventually, you will be out of time to do something else. I feel like if I was, crafting an immortal character, that, yeah, that would be they would have a different relationship to boredom. Because what does it matter? Versus a character that has such a finite life compared to us. So, like, again, Dicaria's living like 12 to 13 months, where like a minute to us or a day is like, yeah, I had a bad day. Like, that's such a small amount of time in what we hope to be a good long life. Versus if you have 13 months to live, a day is like, you had a bad day? Oh, wow, that's bad. That's a lot of time. So, like, your relationship temporally with that would be different. Who can say? Who can say? I guess immortals, but they're not real open about it. Wait, I get bored, but I don't have unlimited time. What's wrong with me? In this episode, Jesse lays bare my internal monologue on nights when I sit and stare at my computer screen and nothing feels like something I want to do. Is that really long enough to corner the market on magical items? Building up, like Grindelbid wants to do a thing that they enjoy, which is like interacting with people and finding value in things that other people don't find a lot of value in. And so those are two things that they really enjoy and that they want to do. And yeah, wants to build that up, but yeah, in terms of their lifespan, yeah, like if they make an impact that in even a small way, that's a big deal, because they don't expect to see, like the 10-year business plan. They only have the right now business plan and the a few months maybe business plan, because anything more than that is super unsure. What's wrong with you if it is that you don't have unlimited time? Yeah, that's what's wrong. You don't have unlimited time. Schindler is a drow city in the Underdark. It used to be an aggressive city until it was conquered, demilitarized, and made a vassal city of Menzoberranzan. I don't know how to use any of the words they use for the Underdark, are so impossible for me to read. However, since Lulth is a goddess of strife, her priestesses started getting nervous that the city wasn't fighting enough. Since they didn't have the resources for full warfare, they started plotting and feuding with each other individually. The end result was them killing each other off one after another, weakening the Church of Lulth. I hear a thing, but I gotta finish reading this first. Diminishing the influence on the city. Now, Skadla is ruled by merchant guilds and is relatively chill place by Underdark standards. That's cool. That's a fun little bit of world building. That sounds like a very interesting place. Hello, I am Trashman09. It's a song. I'm the Trash Man. I think it's actually called I'm the Scat Man, and then there's scatting. But I swear I've heard I'm the Trash Man as a song. So I'm going to say that's a song. Oh, I don't know why it told me that you followed twice, but thanks for following. Hey, Owen Thunderguns. Hey, I'm from Brazil. Oh, nice. Well, howdy from America. Honestly, 2nd and 3.5 edition Forgotten Realms lore is pure world building candy. So many little cool locations with neat stuff going on. Nice. Yeah, some of the stuff does have, for all my ragging on that stuff, there is some good tidbits in there. I mean, they did have some talented people doing some good writing. Let's see. Societal standards of age, where they live. Like being immortal, Dakaria and Quercu, and elves. I think that was most of my notes. We ended up going in a real, not direct, like not linear fashion that I was expecting, and I feel like I was very scatterbrained and probably going with big silences the whole time, because I was trying to piece it together rather than doing it more like a presentation. I hope it wasn't too boring. It looks like not everyone left, so that's good. But I think that was like all of the notes I have, which I did not write down. I meant to write down more stuff as I talked, and I ended up not. But hey. There's another thing. Children. Friends. Enemies. Where we go. We wrote that down. Now let's talk about the most important world building aspect of all cuisine. I wrote with some other people a local cuisine generator called I think it was called like what's the local flavor or something, and then it's kind of borked, so I only have the spreadsheet of it because the actual GitHub doesn't work currently because Google changed how they pull information from sheets, so it doesn't pull properly, so now it doesn't work, but I still have all the information for it. But it was a really fun thing to do where you have like, I don't know if you're familiar with Kiviak. I think it's called Kiviak. It is a Icelandic thing where you, if I'm remembering correctly, you take a specific bird and you take just the whole bird, it's dead, and you put it and you bury it. You just bury it in rocks, or you put it in a seal or something. Hang on, I gotta look this up. I gotta look it up. Yeah. Okay, here it is. Greenland. I was close. Kiviak. So you put yeah, that's it. You put a whole ox, which is a bird, into a seal skin, beaks, feathers included. And as much air as possible is removed from the seal skin before it's sewn up. And then you put it under a bunch of rocks and you leave it there. And the birds ferment over the course of 3 months. And then you pull it out and you eat it. And so I was really inspired by that. And I was like, that's wild. So we made like a recipe builder. Hey, what's up, Pants? But yeah, you take a bird, specific type of bird, because other birds doesn't work properly. Put it in a seal, sew it up, bury it under rocks. 3 months later, you have fermented bird meat. Beaks, feathers, everything. You eat it. So we made a thing that was like, would give you ingredients, and it's like, oh, a local cuisine is, and then it would generate like some food and a way to prepare it and special ingredients for it. It's really cool. Sounds like perfect recipe for food poisoning. That is why you have to do it very properly and why they use a specific bird. Because if you do it wrong, also, hey, Game Over Gimmicks. If you do it wrong or use the wrong type of animal, then yes, you could absolutely give yourself food poisoning. But it's also like sushi, like eat raw fish. Like, oh, that sounds like a great way to get food poisoning. And a lot of people don't because it's properly prepared. What is RPG Help Desk? Larson answering for me says we talk about aspects of world building and running games and ask questions about those. Also, a lot of off-topic nonsense. There's a lot of off-topic nonsense. We were talking about Mike's Red Hot Ricochet barbecue sauce before we started. But yeah, I host a show and we talk about tabletop RPGs. If you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or Numenera or one of the millions of great freaking games out there. Today we were talking about inclusion and world building, but there are so many other topics we talk about. We talk about doing tutorials in RPGs. I've had guests on and talk about things. Yeah, it's really just every week at this time talk about something related to tabletops. I'd rather just look at local geography and other conditions rather than randomly generate. Oh yeah, you totally can. I just wanted to make something that when you go to a place, you could be like, oh, what's a local cuisine that's not just like, here's Dave's chicken wings. Everybody loves Dave's chicken wings here. That's our local thing. Like, I want something that like really made something that seemed like something you wouldn't expect. Because I know a lot of times I have a hard time just coming up on the fly and being like, here's something that you wouldn't expect to eat. Beans. I don't know. But that is how I got there was a city people went to in a place that had like an overabundance of meat. So they made meat liquors and brewed them in like skulls and stuff. It was pretty cool. They got very tanked on meat liquor. Like how hot regions are better with spices and cold regions better with cheeses. Yeah, it's a really good thing to consider when you're doing that. It's like, yeah, what works here? So like in that region with a lot of meat, it was a very like volcanic, overly hot, very hostile environment that did not have a lot of plant life. And so most things that they dealt with were like livestock, wild animals, bugs, things in the meat department. So if you can't make alcohol out of grain, how you gonna make it out of meat? What's up, Monday? How are you doing? You might currently be holding YouTube down by yourself. I don't know if Penta is still here. Someone else might be here too. Here in Brazil, there is a ring system called Paranormal Order. RPG system called Paranormal Order. Ooh, I have not heard of Paranormal Order. What's that game like? I'm going to put it in my tab so I can look it up later. RPG. Meat liquor also sounds like a great way to get food poisoning along with alcohol poisoning. What? No, you ferment it and that takes away the food poisoning part. It's fine. It's been fermented. The alcohol poisoning, that's just how you, I mean, if you got alcohol, you're just running that risk regardless. Totally off subject, but just on the subject of alcohol and RPGs, I'll say I have try meat honey from vulture bees. Yes. They make the vulture bees, if you use their honey, their meat honey to make meat mead. Oh man, it's perfection. Wait, are vulture bees a real thing? Because what pictures? But yeah, I have a friend who made a joke one time that he was like, he was like a very down to earth, like kind of guy. And he's like, I want to try champagne, but I feel like it's too pretentious for me. I need pretension-free champagne. Like, and that made the joke of, eventually came up with the joke of, Miller High Life is called the champagne of beers. And so my friend made the joke of, yeah, we need to make Dan's pretension-free champagne the beer of champagnes. And now Dan's pretension-free champagne is like, in worlds that I run, if there is a tavern that serves alcohol, one of the alcoholic drinks they will serve is Dan's pretension-free champagne. And it's pretty much always the cheapest thing on the menu. There's also a game called Enigma of Fear, based on this RPG system. It'll be released in July. Ooh, cool. Monday, power's going to her head. She's going to take over YouTube. Do I need more people to put things on Spotify? Because I was in the top 10% last year, and I want more. What? You were in the top 10% of what on Spotify? I just looked at vulture bees, and I am grossed out. Well, now I have to look up vulture bees. Let me do it off thing, so in case they're super gross. They still look gross. It's just... What? That's just... Also known as carrion bees, which feed on rotting flesh. Ooh. Alright, what if I put in carrion bees? Will that give me what? A gross picture? The pictures it was giving me, it didn't look like a consistent creature. It was like, that's a bumblebee. That's a regular bee. That's a fuzzy bee. Maybe I have to turn safe search off. And it's trying to shield my eyes. Is it this? Is this a vulture bee? I didn't know vulture bees were real. Oh gosh, that's too big. Like fuzzy black and yellow bees. I do love the idea of honey from vulture bees and making that meat. Lars says the idea was looking at examples of canon foodstuffs and drinks for the Underdark and Forgotten Realms. One was a mushroom, which are naturally preyed on by a second parasitic species of fungus. Oh, when sealed in casks, the second fungus naturally ferments without additives. Though fermenting for too long renders it poisonous, making it useful for intrigue and shenanigans. Oh, I like that. I keep vomiting text of walls today, don't I? I'm sorry. It's fine, Larson. Your words are good. I appreciate your words. The paranormal doesn't come into our reality easily. The world has very solid base of sanity, which by ghosts and paranormal manifestations are encountered in specific places by very sensitive people. But if you get a group of people that start to conspire, generating panic, fear of paranormal, forges false hauntings, creating absurd conspiracies, spreading ghost stories, making fear of the supernatural become more common. Oh. I like that idea, Trash Man. Yeah, so you're basically creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of making people scared of things And by making people scared of thing, it does increase the influence of actual thing. I was top 10% of listeners last year, according to my Spotify rep. Wait, like you listened to more Spotify than 90% of other Spotify listeners? Is that what it is? I think it's a vulture bee or a carrion bee. I'm not sure. Ars Technica. These are terrible pictures. Okay, yeah, so that was a vulture bee. Can confirm. Look at this little guy. He's so cute. Looks like Bee's evil twin. So Fox News. Yeah, pretty much. Get people worked up in a frenzy. Except the Fox News comparison doesn't work because they're getting people worked up into a frenzy about something that doesn't actually affect them or doesn't actually exist. Versus ghosts are real. Get people scared of ghosts. Scared of ghosts makes ghosts more powerful. So there actually is the initial thing. I like that Fiance confirmed that's a vulture bee. How did Fiance know? I'm assuming that is the thing that Trashman wrote earlier, but not in English. But I don't know for sure. Because I can't read it. It's exactly what it is. Oh, okay. Look at this little guy. That's not a vulture bee. That's just something fuzzy. I don't think that's a vulture bee either. No, that's a cute bee, right? Look at this little fuzzy buddy. You just want to pat him on the head. I don't. I'm not a big fan of bees. They bother me. They're not like the worst thing ever, but I got stung in. What is this bird? Oh, it's a vulture. Look at this freaking vulture's head. Why does it have like a little diagram or a little like model of intestines on its nose? I like this vulture. This vulture looks like it could hold a real nice conversation with you. I like that coloring pattern. That's super cool. This freaking bald dinosaur face. I don't like when feathered dinosaurs are fine, especially for like, hey, they had feathers. Like, that's cool. Like, I'm not gonna be like scaled dinosaurs only. Forget science. But I really don't like the like super feathery and then bald head. Where it's like, I don't like the way that looks. And then I look at birds with it and I'm like, oh. Yeah, I still feel like that looks pretty stupid. So sorry, vulture, that I just insulted you. But man, do I not find that an appealing design in animals. Like this guy, like, okay, thick feathers. It's like some real fuzzy feathers right here. Like this works. Naked beak, sure. But like this, just a wrinkly bald head. Some sort of see-through nostril thing happening here. That's cool. Like with just this naked wrinkly head and then full on feathers. It looks like someone poorly designed it. Like it was $4.59 and they had one more creature design to send to the boss before end of day, and they're like, I'm not staying late tonight, and just stopped it there. They're like, feathers and ugly head. All right, we're good. That's our monster. Whoever was designing creatures for outside. I think that's what happened for some of the things we got. Which does mean dinosaurs could very well have had those naked heads. The outside paranormal universe, alternate dimension, inhabited by same mysterious entities, also known as elements. Our reality is separated from the other side by a hypothetical barrier called the membrane. Nice. Two dimensions are naturally connected, with one making contact with the other and vice versa. However, macabre events capable of weakening the membrane through the fear of people can cause bizarre creatures to invade our reality and generate chaos. Ooh, that's a good pitch. I like that. Increases influence of paranormal in certain locations. That's cool. Can't relate English very well, so I'm using a translator, but I forget. Sorry. Oh, okay. Oh, well, no, you're doing fine. It is fine, Trash Man. If you want a vulture, do I have a webcam for you? What? Oh, a web'em. Research and hours of hyperfixation. Oh, okay. That makes sense. What? Hang on, we gotta watch this together. This is a real treat. Look at this walk. Is there sound? No. It's like they're trying. It's like they're comedically tiptoeing. I love it. I'm gonna read chat, but have this playing again. I want it to be my friend. I love this bird. I wonder how those branches bald-headed vultures from feathered birds. I wonder if there's a PBS Eons on that, because sometimes they do stuff like that, and it's always a great episode. What, Jesse, you don't like Nature's a Union? That's unbelievable. Sometimes, you know, nature, sometimes you gotta take a little longer to finish cooking that design. Don't make a real thing that's as stupid looking as a chimera. Oh, he's creeping. Google bearded vultures. That's the walk of is it dead yet? Like, I'm gonna eat this thing, but like only if it's dead. I don't know why it's got its wings like half out. Like it might take flight. All right, what was that? What am I searching for? Bearded vultures. Wow. See that? That's how you do some feathers. So whoever designed this, they did a good job. They put in some good hours redesigning This was not a 459 job. Oh my gosh, it's screaming. Yeah, this is, I think someone looked at this and was like, yeah, let's just make dinosaurs look like this. And then that's how feathered dinosaurs are now being drawn when they're drawn not with the bald head. So RPG has some Magnus archives. That was the Adventure Zone game where they're playing Monster of the Week, right? Magnus Archives. I need to see a bird selling stuff like the RE4 merchant. I just want unfurled wing covered in trinkets. Oh, that would be so great. Freaking a super long wing, because they would have a human-sized bird would have such a long wingspan. Magnus Archives is a horror podcast. Oh, okay. Well, then I am 100% wrong. Peacock merchant. Would you like some watches? It's just all pocket watches. I really like this idea of bird merchants. This is so good. Plus the wings closed are basically a closed trench coat. That's true. Excuse me. Whoa, look at this. I'm assuming this is stained with blood from eating, because this is the only red one. Wow, this is awesome. Bearded vultures look so cool. Oh, he's looking at you. Oh, I think that one's eaten. This one looks like it just kicked a rock and is real sad. It's like, oh man, shucks. These are great. I like bearded vultures. Look at this freaking guy. This is great. But yeah, closed wings do kind of look like a trench coat. And they would be so big. I am here for bird merchants. I support this. We need them in our game. Next character we make, bird merchant. Feel like that would be good. I don't know why I'm yawning. I don't know what's wrong. I guess I did wake up earlier than I meant to this morning, but still, shouldn't be yawning this much. On break, by the way. How are we doing today? I'm doing apparently tired today, and I have to go take care of some stuff. So actually, I'm probably gonna wrap it up about now, because I said everything I wanted said. No one has any questions, and while I don't want to wrap up early, I have things I have to get done. So like, probably smart. Oh, what? Oh, well, I just embarrassed myself, so I'm just gonna leave now. Bye. And then he faded out of existence. I'm a ghost. Whoosh. Yeah, I'm here, and then whoosh, whoosh. Look, there's nothing there. I'm gone. We were doing world building. We're specifically a place for everyone, inclusion and stuff in world building. So we were talking about, like, in a world that, you know, doesn't have the history of our world, what do relationships look like? Marriage, family, children, friends, enemies. Actually, we didn't talk about enemies, but like, how's that change? How does religion change when you don't have the same influences, or like you can literally talk to the gods, rather than in our world where people are like, Jesus said this, and you can't just ask Jesus. But in a world where you can, like, how's religion and the like interactions with it and how it influences the world different, and how does that shape places in the world and people. So it was fun. I want to know how as well. That just wasn't the question. That's fair. Hey, besmirch. I mean, bye. Your background just makes it look like you turned into a tree when you're embarrassed. That would be great. Actually, I'd rather turn into something less conspicuous or invisible when I'm embarrassed, but I guess a tree isn't a bad choice. I had a rival for one of my pro tags, a necromancer, and his familiar is a vulture, and I forgot all about it. O's, don't miss my bee pun. I did miss your bee pun. What was your bee pun? I definitely missed it. I don't know where it is. Funny how you can't ask Jesus, because boy howdy, there is a lot of people in the Bible doing that and getting answers. Right. The people in the Bible can do that. Like, we can't ask Jesus. Can't ask Muhammad. Can't ask, I don't know, name another religious figure that's no longer in this world. Because you don't have a two-way communication with them like in RPGs you usually do, when you can be like, hey, grant me power, tartar sauce. I heard a Kofi beep. I heard a Kofi beep. I heard a Kofi beep. Oh, it's Besmirch. Besmirch. No message other than a great message of support. Thank you. Thank you very much, Besmirch. What a delight. Gautama Siddhartha? Is that another religious figure? Zeus? That's one. Don't ask Zeus. Zeus is terrible. Don't even address Zeus. Ask Hermes or Athena. Or what was the god of horny love and corny love? Aphrodite. There we go. I'm learning about those. 5 elements: blood, death, energy, fear, and knowledge. Blood, death, energy, fear, knowledge. That is 5. I can't count. Oh, that's fun. Wait, is Gautama Siddhartha Buddha? Really don't ask any god anything. If you have their attention, you're in a bad situation. I mean, there are cases where you can have a god's attention and it's good. I mean, at least in the Bible, there's stories of people being like super pious and God was like, it's cool. There's also stories where people get God attention and it's bad. Like the story of Job, which is taught as a very inspirational story. But boy howdy is it fucked up. Where, if you're unfamiliar with the story of Job, because you didn't go to church every Sunday and some other days of the week like I did, Job is a guy who was super religious, super into God, was like, yo, God, you're the coolest. Hey, thanks. I got a family. I got money. I got a big farm. I got all these sheep. I got prosperousness. All is good. And Satan is like, God, Job only likes you because you give him things. And God is like, Job would like me even if he didn't have all those things. And the devil is like, all right, what if I take all those things away from him? And God's like, yeah, go ahead. That's fine. So Satan kills off all of his livestock. And Job's like, that's cool. I still love God. And then Satan inflicts boils on him. And he's like, that's cool. Like, I still love God, even though I'm covered in pussy sores. And then Satan murders his children. And God's okay with this. And Job's like, that's cool. God's still cool. I think he kills his wife. People die. Like, God is just straight up condoning, like, yeah, you can kill his family, that's fine. He'll still love me. And then, like, he does all these things and murders people, and at the end, Job's like, I still love God, even though everything was taken away from me, and I have nothing now, and I'm all by myself. And then God goes, I'm glad you said so. Told you, Satan. And then he gets him a new wife, and they have even more children, and he rebuilds his farm somehow and has even more livestock and wealth than he had before, which is just a very not good story. Like, no. Like, the idea is like, oh, it doesn't matter what life throws at you. Like, believe in God and all will work out. And it's like, that's a metaphor, sure. But as a higher power being like, it's cool if you murder several people to prove one of them really likes me, that's fucked up. Like, that's not a good way to do that. The story of Gob is a story of the time God ruined a man's entire life because Satan went, do it. You won't. Yes, is it God that kills them or is it Satan? I forget. I might be wrong. It might have been God that killed all those people. I don't remember. I might be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure God is the one that actively ruins a man's life. Satan is just like, bet he won't love you after this. I think you're right. I don't remember if God is okay with the murder if he's not doing the murdering himself. But the story is he's cool with the murdering. And then because Job didn't lose faith, he rewarded him. But like, that's a good reason to lose faith when God is condoning your murdering people. Like, do you want to be cool with God after he's like, hey, I'm going to murder people? Again, as a metaphor, it kind of works. As like a, hey, whatever happens, like, don't lose faith. Don't blame other things. Stay strong. It could turn around. As a metaphor for that sort of a mentality, sure. As a literal thing, no, not good. I said, what, Jesse? You don't like Nature's Union? That's the unbelievable. Oh, that's funny. I just am bad at reading and didn't read that as two B's in unbelievable. I should not have been surprised that Yahweh/Jehovah didn't have a problem with child murder after the plagues of Egypt. Yeah, also, he did just be like, well, I'll kill all the firstborn. It's like, maybe instead of that, you should kill the people who are responsible for this atrocity and not their children. There's also a point in the Bible where God sends bears to kill someone for calling an apostle bald or something. And there's the flood where everyone except 8 people get killed, which in that one, at least you have like the story point of view of like, but everybody was so awful that like they deserve to die, where it's like, okay, like at least justification wise, it's like, okay, well, they're all bad, versus like the story of Job where it's like, or the firstborn of the Egyptians where it's like, well, they didn't do anything, but you're okay with that death, where it's like, well, everybody was super evil. And it's like, oh, okay, well then sure, they can die, I guess. That's fine. So we get those stories where God and Satan are just chatting like roommates. There's actually quite a few of them chatting. Like they do kind of talk like roommates a lot of times when they interact. I would have thought the Almighty would have been a little more enlightened than that. Enlightened, you've been talking about someone who believes that kill all firstborn is a suitable negotiation position. My favorite Bible story is the one where God gets hard countered by iron chariots That's the value of advancing up the tech tree. Wait, what? Which story is that, Larson? I can just easily picture bong rip. Betty won't love you after that. Exhale. Yeah. There's also the story of like when Jesus didn't eat for 30 days or something, and Satan shows up and is like basically just talking about food in front of him. There's funny stuff. Why didn't he eat? He was fasting. He was trying to prove something. I really don't remember the context. Which I'm going to be honest, a lot of lessons in the church are not done in context. The point was, Jesus wanted to do something for God. Satan tried to tell him to not and tempt him to not do the thing he said he would do for God. And then Jesus did the thing he did for God, and then God rewarded him for doing that thing. The context is usually not important. The message is all that matters. And the message is, don't get influenced by Satan. So, like, that's all that mattered. I think there is context, but I really don't remember it. There might not be. It might just be like, I said I'd fast for 30 days, so I will. And that was the only reason. Which is a thing. People will be like, I will give something up to show my appreciation of that thing. Which even outside of religion is a fine thing to do. Like, you give up something for a while so you appreciate it. Like, don't drink soda for a while. Drink soda again. Holy crap, this stuff's delicious. Now I know why I drink it. So, quote, I am the Lord. I, the Lord, was with Judah, and he drave out the inhabitants of the mountain, but could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley because they had chariots of iron. Oh, wow. Wow, he did get hard countered by iron. That's funny. We don't talk about that in church. We don't talk about that time God got hard countered. Crushes beer can and gets said, oh yeah, I'll kill his kids and his wife and he'll still love me. Loser does dishes. That is sometimes what it's like. That's a lie. I never tempted him. So there is no encounter between you and the wilderness. I didn't tempt him. So what did you do? I smacked him in the mouth. Well, he's got his real holier than thou attitude. All right, I gotta get out of here. It is now past 2 o'clock. Conk. Look, soda's delicious. It's just, it's bubbly sugar water. It's great stuff. Don't drink too much of it. Like, all things in moderation. Thanks for the stream. You're very welcome. Thank you, Splinter Fiction. Thank you, Discordia. Thank you, Honey Money. Sorry, I love quoting Satan. It's so funny you mentioned it because I've managed to do the last 5 days without soda. Had to buy some today. Don't give in to Satan, Honey Money. But do drink soda if you like soda and you drink it in regulation amounts. That's fine. Thanks, Owen. Jones and real bad. It's funny because there's a brand of soda called Jones. Cataloged and booked by Anton Levere. is titled Satan Speaks. I did not know that, but I will take it into account for the extra funnies. All right, good. All right, who are we gonna raid? Who's up? There's music, Gaud mode. V is playing Hired Gun, Necromunda, huh. And Blitz is playing Rust. So I'm going to go over to Gaud mode unless somebody wants to guide the stream somewhere, in which case tell me and I'll send us all that way. Playing that 40k stuff. Necromunda had some real potential for being a fun game and was not. It really came up short, which is a real bummer. Because I wanted it to be good. I really want to find a 40k game that I like. Because I hear about 40k stuff and I'm like, this is interesting. And then anytime I actually interact with 40k stuff, I'm like, I am not enjoying this. He's got a doggy on camera. I haven't played Darktide, which, okay, no, I take it back because I did like Vermintide 2 while we were playing that. That was fun. Oh, dog was in a cutscene. Oh, you do get a dog in that game. That's right. It spawns in and out. Oh, right. It's Warhammer Fantasy. Well, same thing. Warhammer 40k or Fantasy. I would do either. All right. Nobody said anything, so speak now, or we're going to God mode. Warhammer 40k Space Marine was a dope game, but it doesn't run great on modern PCs in my experience. Well, that's a bummer. Warhammer 40k Mechanus is a pretty good XCOM-like. I've never played XCOM. Choose You Wish goes looking for pizza. I hope you find that pizza. Pizza's freaking delish. It's so good. All right, well, I'm gonna hit this raid button. Thank you everybody for coming. I'll be doing Get Jesse the Greek tonight over on The Escapist with Casey. I hope I see you there. And if I don't, well, then I hope you enjoy whatever it is you are doing. And I should have some written stuff on The Escapist for the Steam Next Fest. So, yay. I'm leaving now. Bye.